we're out here today are talking about all things Apple Search Ads, and my workshop in particular will be dedicated to Apple Search Ads scaling and optimization. So we'll have 2 parts in it. First, let me introduce myself once again real quick. So my name is Anton. I'm marketing manager at SplitMetrics and SearchAdsHQ, where we make some amazing tools for better App Store and Apple Search Ads management and optimization, A/B testing, optimization, Search Ads management, scaling, we do it all. And I'm, contractually obligated to say that we do it best. So just a quick plug, which I love so much. So jokes aside, my session will be split in 2 parts. First, we'll cover your Apple Search Ads scaling. Then we'll go straight into optimization. So hope everybody's ready. Let's continue. So the first part is Apple Search Ads scaling. Now, first thing I'd like to touch upon at this point is your impression share, right? Your impression share, for those who are not familiar with Apple Search Ads that close, is the number of impressions your targets earned divided by the total number of eligible impressions. That's just according to Apple guidelines. In plain English, it just shows you how much impressions you've won of the overall number of impressions that you've participated in auction for. So currently, Apple shows you only the number of your impressions, right? But you can't see the share, and this data is unavailable. They don't share it in any kind of API. That's just closed. So the only thing you actually can do is simply raise your reciprocity bid and track changes. See how it the performance changes. Let's just log this sort in and remember this fact. So then let's move to the scaling itself. There are 4 ways to scale overall and increase your traffic volume. First is increase number of your keywords in that account, which is kind of obvious. Second one, you may increase your reciprocity bid. Third one, expand your targeting. And you may change your app metadata by adding some high volume keywords, which are considered by Apple as not relevant to the given app. Those are basically keywords which are kind of around your app, but on which you don't get any impressions by far. And that's because not because of bids. So those keywords have a good amount of traffic on them. And for Apple to consider those good keywords relevant to your app, you should add them to your app page metadata. However, points 2, 3, and 4 are kind of tricky. I have several obvious drawbacks, which may make them, so to say, kind of bad options to choose while scaling. For example, if you start with increasing your reciprocity bid, this may negatively impact your ad performance, ROI, and return on ad spend. And the increase in spend does not necessarily lead to the increase in revenue, because when you grow bids, you start getting more impressions. That, for example, based on your in-app goal, which may be subscription, purchase, whatever that is for your app, your acceptable cost per acquisition at which your ROI stays positive is, let's say, I don't know, $10, or no, let's take $2. What happens when you increase CPA bid is your CPA grows, and at the end, it may reach the border at which your just ROI gets close to 0, and to grow your bid starts making no sense in general. You stop getting any money from your ad campaigns. So and you stop getting into auctions with higher bids, and your traffic volume drops. Sorry. So that's kind of a tricky thing. You don't want to use that. Now expanding targeting. This option may simply not suit your app, right? So if you've got some kind of, for example, precise target audience, or some apps for kids or for, I don't know, professional business apps, it also may negatively impact your ROI and return on ad spend as well, due to less engaged users just tapping casually on your ad, not bringing you any value. You don't want to do this as well. Now, changing your application metadata is, as we've discussed, is simply not sustainable. It's hard to manage, it's tricky to measure its impact, and Olivier, actually from AppTweak, Olivier and Laurie from AppTweak have done some research where they've optimized, description, for example, and this did not give them any positive effect on the number of suggested keywords, had not effect on Apple search ads. So yeah, that's just, you probably won't like to do this as well. And improving your main elements, which are also indexed by Apple, like app name, your subtitle, etc. This may have an effect, but here you're just playing with fire, because you may simply start losing your organic rankings. I'm not sure how ready you are to risk this, just to get more keywords. It depends on each individual situation. Overall, as a general suggestion, this strategy may also not be as sustainable for your scaling. Which leads us back to option number 1, which is increasing your keywords volume. Just gradually adding new relevant keywords to the ad account. So let's plug this in, get straight to step-by-step how to do this. You guys get your pencils ready, get your Apple pencils ready. We're like 2018. Whoever loves the Apple production. Actually, do you now hear me better? Because I've noticed my microphone was somewhere down there. Just drop a comment in the chat. Yeah, much better. I mean, guys, sorry, really didn't notice that. So let's move on. Let's move on to the how to better increase the number of keywords in your ad account. On step 1, what you do is you set up your discovery campaign. You make sure that all of your new and existing keywords from your brand generic competitors, exact ad groups, are added as negative exact keywords to discovery ad groups, so that your ad groups just don't conflict with each other, and that they are added as targeted broad keywords to broad match keywords ad group, just to start getting more long tail keywords. By the way, if you don't catch everything I'm talking about right now, don't worry. We have all of this information and much more in our handbook, which will be absolutely sure to actually share right now in the chat, I think, or after the conference. So you'll be absolutely sure to get this. Now, also there, I should say that the structure which we are offering right now is just one of the possible options which we suggest for our clients, and it's, so to say, targeting based. Yesterday, Gabe from Incipia shared another perspective and another structure, which is, so to say, keyword spend based, where you split your keywords in 3 tiers, tier 1 to 3, based on spend and on return. So the one I offer is just what we do for our clients and what proved to work really well. So step 2. On the step 2, you split all of your search terms generated in discovery campaign into 3 categories: into good search terms, bad, and those which did not give you enough data, right? Good performing, relevant search terms should be moved to exact ad groups. And what makes them good? Your CPA, or at least they are close to 3x of your CPA, and those are getting downloads. Just depends on how much you can spend on testing your keywords, but in general, they either meet CPA or close to, I don't know, 2x, 3x your CPA. Bad search terms are bad performing, not relevant. They should be immediately moved to negative exact keywords to discovery ad groups. So as negatives in discovery. What makes search terms bad is that basically they're not working. You spend a lot of money, 3x of your CPA and more on them, and you still don't get any downloads. So nobody wants that. So you move those guys to as negatives to discovery ad groups, your discovery search match and broad match keywords. Now, those which don't have enough data on them, those are search terms which have like insufficient data, and they should be moved to just to any category. You just need to take some time to see how they perform. Choose just longer period to get more data. Usually, this should be done in some kind of in a longer time period, like 7 days. Just need some time to test them out. Under not enough data, we mean that they spend like less than 3x of your target CPA. Price is more or less okay for them, but the number of downloads is very low, or you just don't get any downloads on them at all, and you just want to test them out. Once again, just better to look at this data on a specific time frame. I don't know. As usual, we're taking like 7 days. Now let's go to step 3. And on step 3, all of your good search terms should be added as targeted exact keywords to corresponding brand, generic, or competitors exact ad groups. Because in general, exact is where you actually manage and bid on particular keywords, do like the main part of your work. Those should also be added as negative exact keywords to discovery campaign, your search match and broad match, to discovery ad groups. Sorry, just to turn it off in discovery, not to work with them anymore, not to conflict with them. And those good search terms should be added as targeted broad keywords into broad match keywords ad group, just to start getting your long tail keywords, so that you just basically cover the maximum amount of possible search terms you can get. Now, on step 4, all of your bad search terms should be added as negative exact keywords to discovery ad groups, to your search match and broad match keywords. Pretty straightforward on step 4. Step 5, you just perform your steps from 2 to 4 just in a circle on a weekly basis, using data from your last reviews up to the current moment. And in general, following those recommendations step by step will allow you to gradually increase the number of relevant keywords. As a result, increase your traffic volume and scale successfully. Now, traffic volume in discovery ad groups will naturally start dropping in a while, right? And it has to do with exact negative keywords regularly being added to discovery ad groups. To keep just mining your relevant keywords in this situation, you should do one of the following. You should either gradually increase your CPA bid in discovery ad groups in search match and broad match in order to get in auctions with more expensive keywords. However, sorry, just at the beginning, it's probably better to use minimal bid for this. Or the other way is to use Keyword Planner to find new relevant keywords, add them as exact and broad keywords, just by analogy with search terms on step 3. For example, in in Keyword Planner in SearchAdsHQ, which you may do this in SearchAdsHQ. It helps you to research, to assess, to add your new keywords in bulk in no time. Starting to lose my voice, actually. Whoa, very engaged. I'm very engaged in this webinar. Now, yeah. Drink water, Radomir. Have it on me right now. Let's move on. Keyword Planner. You research, you assess, you add your new keywords in bulk in no time to your ad groups. Saves you tons of time, which you'd otherwise just spend on doing the same thing manually. So that's just much more comfortable. So is everybody still here? Just please drop something in the chat. I'm so engaged, starting to lose my voice. Don't know what to do right now. In the meantime, I'll drink some water. What do we have next? Next, we'll talk a little bit about optimization. You know, yeah, hot tea works well, but I mean, we don't have so much time, you know, that I'm not sure if everybody wants to see how I stand up, go make some tea. Not sure. So if you've liked the part about scaling, just, you know, hit right yes in chat. If you really like the part about scaling, just hit much yes. Would like to see this. And I think that one more sip of water. And we're ready to roll. Now, let's go to optimization. So optimizing your Apple search ads in a nutshell is basically simply optimizing each step in your conversion funnel, right? From an auction to your download to finally your in-app goal action, like subscription purchase, whatever that is. The first step is auction. How it works, just a quick reminder, Apple Search Ads is a second prize auction, which means that in general, if your bid wins, you pay highest previous bid plus 1 cent. You set your CPT bid and will never pay more than that, as you simply won't be eligible to the auctions with a higher price, right? Now, on the auction stage, what you need to check is whether your ads are running or not. If your ads are not running for specific keywords, which are believed to be relevant, you should look for the problem in either low CPT bid, you should just increase it to fix this problem, or low technical relevance score, right? To fix this, you need to add keywords to your app metadata or otherwise deny some of the keywords which dump your performance. Now, when your ads are running already, you want to look at the number of impressions. Here, two elements may impact the number of impressions and the whole funnel are CPT bid and your CPA goal. Now, if you know your cost per acquisition cap, you can also set its limits for your campaign. That's exactly what CPA goal is. And if you set it, Apple Search Ads will try to optimize audience based on the desired cost per acquisition and your maximum CPT bid you're willing to pay. And well, it will definitely influence the number of impressions overall. Now, tap through rate. After getting impressions, you'll be willing to increase your tap through rate and cost per tap, right? That's extremely important because if your banner is getting impressions, right, a lot of impressions, but it's poorly optimized for high TTR, you'll be wasting money with like no result at all, and nobody wants this. So to get higher tap through rate, you need to optimize your icon, your screenshots, your video preview, app name, and metadata. This will maximize the number of taps this way. And also, if you just go granular with targeting, a cost per tap can grow or actually go down. We've seen both scenarios here in SearchAdsHQ. All right. Then, so your taps lead to downloads. Basically, the taps on Get button, which Apple tracks as cost per acquisition. The metric to track on download stage is your tap to download ratio. It'll tell you whether or not you're losing money on this tab or you're not losing money. Now, highest conversion on this tab may be reached by optimizing your app page creatives, your icons, subtitles, screenshots, app previews, etc. It's super important, can't stress this enough, because when you pay for a tab, right, you want to be sure that it actually converts into installs, otherwise you're just wasting money. To do this, like to optimize all of those, you can use some App Store A/B testing services. The best one of those I've seen in my life is SplitMetrics, you know, so be sure to check it out after the conference. It will just help you to find best variations that convert visitors into downloads. And don't forget about targeting, guys. The tap to download ratio can be also improved when you develop all of your app page elements, just focusing on the specific audience and using this exact audience for your Apple Search Ads campaigns. This will really, really help to increase your tap to download ratio. Now, another important thing to just keep in mind is that technically a download, or cost per acquisition, which Apple calls it, is not an install which your app trackers show. So typically, it may be much, much lower than CPA in Apple. And there can be just various technical or behavioral issues as reasons for that, such as low Wi-Fi connections, or just users decide that they don't want to open your app anymore. They just download it and not open. Then you'll still get downloads, and those will be tracked in Apple, but you won't get any installs. Those issues will grow your CPI, cost per install, and those definitely need to be solved. That's just a small piece of context to keep in mind. Now, all of your what are we talking about? We're talking about your target in-app goal right now. Your subscriptions, your purchases, whatever that is. Ultimately, both your ROI and return on ad spend depend on the price you pay for users to complete the goal and money you get back. What influences the amount of in-app goals completed is an actual keyword relevance, your targeting, your just general app quality, and of course your in-app redemption flow, just the flow from install to the purchase. So to sum up, if the whole funnel on all of those stages is optimized, then you may be sure that you're taking maximum out of your Apple Search Ads and that you don't waste any cash. If you optimize your auction so that your ads run often, if you optimize for maximum number of impressions via altering your CPA bid and CPA goal, if you max out your TTR with absolute best creatives, absolute best metadata, if you increase your on-page conversion rate and finally optimize for just maximum number of users to complete your in-app goal action, then you may say that your Apple Search Ads is optimized, that you're taking maximum out of it. Those numbers you may see just on the screen are examples, but I think that the analogy is pretty understandable. Now, how your creatives and your app page performs is pretty easy to track. What's challenging is to track your CPT and your impressions. And it's time consuming. It requires a lot of managers, manual operations, so to say. He has to operate keywords, change bids, count everything out in spreadsheets. This is just a pain. So the healthy way is to automate this flow, right? How to automate this flow is you may do it in your Apple Search Ads automatic rules, which will automatically manage your keywords based on certain events inside your ad campaign or ad group. Just some small issue with presentation. Let me quickly fix this. All right, we're back. So this may be done in SearchAdsHQ on 4 levels. You may get alerts. You may set up your automatic bid changes, set up your ad scheduling, and update your keywords properties in bulk, which is unfortunately not possible in native Apple Search Ads dashboard, but you still may do this in SearchAdsHQ. So let me just give you a couple of examples so you just get an idea of what I'm talking about. For example, automatic alert, right? Let's say you have a problem with your tap-through rate. Your number of impressions is good. Let's say it's more than 100, but your TTR is less than 30%. And you'll get an alert for that automatically. You'll get a chance to go to your account immediately, see what may be changed for better TTR, and you may do multiple rules at the same time. So you don't need to come up with all of them by yourself. We've prepared a checklist with you, which we'll be absolutely sure to share sometime after the conference. Another example is automatic bid management, which is probably much interesting. Yeah, so let's take another example. All of your keywords in ad group get a low number of impressions, right? Less than 100. Your ROI is more than 10%. To get more impressions, what do you do, right? You start gradually increasing your CPT bids. When conditions are met, the system will automatically start increasing your bids, in our case on 20%, until the desired number of impressions is reached. This saves you one enormous amount of time, probably some amount of money, just a lot of resources which you'd otherwise spend on making those changes manually in a number of like spreadsheets, tools, etc. That's just a pain. So yeah, in such cases, automatic rules help a lot. Now, once again, Apple Search Ads automation, the whole spectrum of Apple Search Ads management and scaling features is available in SearchAdsHQ. For demo, just go to SearchAdsHQ.com, hit that request demo button. Our managers will get back to you in no time, show you the tool, answer all of your questions, trying to do this as good as possible and as quick as possible. So for now, I think that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the webinar.